Well, it's another beautiful morning, and I want to welcome you to promise number 305 highlights from God's Word. And our promise is found this morning in Psalm 139, verses 1 through 3. And I just want to say this from the outset that just having David be the one that's writing the psalm is really helpful and beneficial to me, because there's a guy who has been through a lot and maybe even made some terrible personal mistakes, and he just keeps coming back, and God just keeps using him. And I think we could look at his life as an example for all of us men to really follow, and really not just men, women can follow this example as well, that when we make mistakes, we need to own up to them, get them before the Lord, and let the Lord do all the work in the fixing. And I don't know if you noticed it, but I am wearing my Cowboys hat today. You probably thought you'd see it yesterday after they won on Sunday, but I forgot. And so today I'm wearing my Cowboys hat, and way to go Cowboys in winning on Sunday, decisively, I might add. But back to promise number 305 in Psalm 139, verses 1 through 3. Listen to this. God promises that he knows everything about us and is mindful of all of our ways. And I got to say this, there's really a promise like this, there's a shock side to it, but the intended meaning is that of encouragement. That God can really see what's going on in our lives, and there's nothing shocking to him. He knows it all, he sees it all, but what's most important about this is what he's aware of. In fact, let me read the first three verses of Psalm 139 to you, and just follow along as I read. It says, Lord, thou hast searched me and known me. Okay, so that's an inner search. He didn't just search and do a survey of where we're going and what's happening around us. He's looking at what's happening in us. He says, thou knowest the down sitting and my uprising. Thou understandest my thought afar off. He says, God can actually read our minds. He can see our thoughts. He can see where our heart is going in response to what's happening. And I find that incredibly comforting right now in this season of my life, because man, sometimes my mind is just rolling over the circumstances, the details, the hurts, the disappointments, and really just he mulls it all. He has it all in his care. And so these verses are really meaningful to me as I'm traveling this particular season of my life. And so verse number 3, he says, thou compass my path and my lying down, and art acquainted with all of my ways. You're acquainted with all my ways. You know my weaknesses. You know my fears. You know my hurts and struggles. But then you also know my joys, the things that bless my heart, the things that would bring rejoicing back to me when I walk with you. And these are all powerful, powerful things. But listen, David is well acquainted with tough times. Now think about this. We all have times when we wonder if God is even watching, and so you have them and I have them. And many times it's then, or in those times when we're in our worst situations, where we wonder, is God even paying attention? But the psalm assures us that he's paying attention, that he has us. And like I said, this one is particularly personal for me because of just circumstances that are surrounding my daily life, and just situations that are not within what I'd like to call my control. And people are responding to them in different ways, but I can't affect that. And for whatever reason, listen, this is how deeply David understands this. When Samuel comes to anoint the new king, one of the sons of Jesse, David isn't even thought of as one of those that would be considered for such an honor, such a blessing. They have to wait for him to be called from the field and cleaned up before he can be even seen by Samuel. That's how forgotten he was. His own dad didn't even invite him to stand before the prophet. And so when he came to see the battle against Goliath, his own brothers accused him of having some sort of a bad motive, or he wasn't taking care of dad's stuff, even though dad sent him to do this mission out of a blessing to his other sons. He wanted him to deliver resources and provisions, but they accused him of only wanting to see the battle and having bad motives. And so listen, he beats Goliath. When he finally gets his big break as a fierce fighter in Saul's army, Saul goes nuts and basically casts him aside. So David's acquainted with tough times. And so when he says God can see all of my tough times, he can see where I'm going, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. He knows where I'm at. That should be reassuring to all of us. Listen, he's watching, and his watching is to comfort us, not to accuse us. He wants to draw us in where we're safe. And so I hope that this morning you're able to start your day understanding that whatever happens at work, God is with you. He sees whatever's happening in your relationships. He sees whatever's happening with your kids. He sees whatever unknowns or weird things that are happening out there in your life. He sees those. I'm going to do my best to listen to my own advice this morning and live out today from the perspective of God is watching. He knows. He's well acquainted. He even knows when I sit down, when I get up. He understands my thoughts, even from a distance. Let that be an encouragement to you as you start your day. Have a great day.